Hi, my name is Angelica Fabricatore, and today our group will be discussing autonomous artificial intelligence in business. Presenting today is myself, Maren Dent, Hayden Diggins, and Madison Farrell. So I'm quickly going to go over the agenda for today's presentation. First, I'll cover the introduction and a brief history of artificial intelligence. Then we'll go over the implementation of autonomous AI in business, then the ethical and legal ramifications, as well as the future outlook and predictions for autonomous AI. So, what is autonomous AI? It is defined as systems that can perform tasks and make decisions without direct human intervention, adapting to changing conditions and learning from data. It operates independently using pre-programmed rules, machine learning models, or data inputs to guide their actions. So let's take a moment to discuss the differences between the two main types of artificial intelligence as it pertains to business. The first type of AI is generative AI. This type of AI focuses on generating content such as images, text, music, etc., based on existing data. You see this type of application used quite often in things like ChatGPT, AI music generation, or anytime you see one of those AI generated videos where a user can give it a prompt and the AI creates it. You also see this used in large language models. Companies like Duolingo is using it for translation purposes and lesson creation. The key point here is that AI is using existing data and pattern recognition to generate new original content, and it's all user guided. Now let's talk about autonomous AI, which is our focus today. So autonomous AI differs from generative AI because where generative AI is user guided, autonomous AI can perform its functions without human intervention. Because of this ability, it's able to execute complex tasks and make decisions independently. Autonomous AI is considered one of the most intelligent forms of AI and can make decisions based on context, learned datasets, and their interactions with their environment. Because they are able to learn and adapt over time, they can essentially learn to think for themselves and become more and more intelligent. Some of the most common use for this form of AI today is self-driving cars, robotic surgery assistants, and AI-powered virtual assistants. The main takeaway here is that generative AI is reactive, whereas autonomous AI is proactive. Now that we have a basic idea of what autonomous AI is, I want to discuss a brief timeline for this technology. So in 1939, Alan Turing created the very first computer during World War II, and then in 1947, Bill Shockley creates the semiconductors, or transistors, which makes computing smaller. In 1950, the Turing test, or imitation game, is done to determine whether a machine can exhibit intelligent behavior. This is when Alan Turing also coined the name artificial intelligence, or AI. In 1951, Marvin Minsky creates the world's first neural network using wires and 6 vacuum tubes. Even though the vacuum tubes would fail regularly, the machine would still work. This laid the foundation for the field of AI. In 1952, Bill Shockley's creation of the transistor leads to the wildly popular transistor radio. His success from this leads him to start his own company, Shockley Semiconductors. After the success that followed Shockley Semiconductors, 8 Shockley employees, known as the Traitorous Eight, left and started Fairchild Semiconductors. This company shifted to creating silicon transistors, where Shockley was still making germanium-based ones. In 1959, transistors began to reach a plateau because transistors can only do one job at a time. So if you needed 100 things done at once, you needed 100 transistors. In response, Bob Noyce created the integrated circuit, which is a way for transistors to work together in unison like a network. This led this led to a mass exodus of Fairchild employees, known as the Fairchildren, who would go on to start their own companies, leading to the creation of AMD, LSI Logic, and Intel, which was led by Bob Noyce. In 1966, a computer scientist at MIT named Joseph Weizenbaum built the first chatbot using the IBM 794 computer and named it Eliza. This gave the world its first taste of AI, although it wasn't actually AI. Eliza used pattern matching and substitution methodology to give the illusion of understanding, but in reality, it couldn't. In 1986, Geoffrey Hinton, a British computer scientist, created backpropagation, which is considered a huge breakthrough moment for AI. This is a machine learning algorithm that acts like a teacher who helps computers learn from its mistakes. It would check a computer's answers, see where it went wrong, and then gave it tips on how to improve. In 1997, IBM built Deep Blue, an AI program that used highly sophisticated search algorithms, a database of games played, and combined it with brute force computing power to beat the world's best chess player. This laid the blueprint for modern day AI, which is data plus a model plus computing power. By 2006, with the creation of social networking in the early 2000s, dubbing it the information age, companies were now generating more data in 1 year than all of humanity did in a century, creating big data that firms were now expected to analyze. This led Geoffrey Hinton, known at this point as the godfather of AI, to create the convolutional neural network. This created a way for computers to think and recognize patterns and images. By 2012, Geoffrey Hinton created what is known as the Big Bang of the AI, which is with his creation of AlexNet. This convolutional neural network dramatically improved image classification accuracy and is considered the catalyst for the modern AI boom. Also in 2012, NVIDIA made a gamble on AI by ditching its core product, which was graphic cards for video games, and they began making the most powerful microchips to power AI. Today, NVIDIA powers 92% of the world's AI. In 2015, in an attempt to prevent the monopolization of AI by Google, Elon Musk and Sam Altman founded OpenAI, an open source, nonprofit organization geared towards building AI safely. In 2017, Google finds Transformers AI model, which is the most powerful AI tool. Transformers are essentially super smart robots that can read a lot of books really fast and learn from them. In 2022, after Elon's departure from OpenAI in 2018, Sam Altman got a $10 million investment from Microsoft, and this led to the creation and launch of an updated version of 1966's Eliza chatbot, and they renamed it ChatGPT, which stands for Chatting Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Except this time, because of the use of transformers, the chatbot is now truly AI and can have understanding of the conversation. In 2023, Microsoft released GPT-4. This model was capable of abstraction, comprehension, and understanding human motives and emotions. It was capable of reasoning, planning, and learning from experience. These cognitive abilities paved the way for autonomous AI. And by 2024, OpenAI introduces OpenAI o1, which spends time thinking before answering, giving AI the capability to complete complex tasks. This is what led OpenAI employees to claim that they had finally achieved autonomous AI.
Hello, my name is Hayden Diggins, and today I will be covering the implementation of autonomous AI in business. So, autonomous AI is a rapidly growing industry. In the manufacturing sector, AI powered robotics handle not only assembly tasks but also predictive maintenance, ensuring that machines can detect and address issues before they cause any downtimes. In the logistics sector, we have seen a huge surge in adoption as well. Companies like Amazon use AI to direct warehouse robots, manage delivery routes, and even pilot autonomous delivery drones. In the finance sector, firms are using autonomous systems for everything from fraud detection to algorithmic trading, offering speed and accuracy that's beyond human capabilities. In the retail sector, businesses have been using AI for personalized product recommendations, inventory management systems, and even cashierless checkout systems. Finally, we have the healthcare sector. In this sector, AI has been assisting with diagnostic imaging, robotic assisted surgeries, and continuous patient monitoring, which helps the medical professionals make faster and more accurate decisions. Autonomous AI isn't just transforming industries, it's shaping how businesses function and are managed across many departments. In customer service, AI powered chatbots and virtual agents can now handle complex conversations, which can reduce wait times and boost people's satisfaction. HR departments use AI to screen resumes, analyze employee engagement, and even forecast workforce needs. In marketing, autonomous tools analyze customer sentiment, optimize campaign timings, and generate personalized content. Looking at it through operations, many teams can use AI to automate everything from task scheduling to supply chain logistics, and in IT, autonomous systems monitor for cybersecurity threats, perform updates, and even help heal systems without any human intervention. Across all of these functions, AI is helping organizations work smarter, faster, and more strategically. Now let's look at some real-world examples that show how autonomous AI is already in use today. Tesla's factories are a great case. The company uses AI-driven robots to manage inventory, calibrate equipment, and streamline production, all with minimal human oversight. Over at Amazon, AI is utilized for the movement of goods within warehouses, and it helps operate drone delivery systems. This combination of automation and real-time optimization has redefined logistics and efficiency. In the financial sector, we have JP Morgan Chase, which has developed the Coin platform, which uses AI to review complex legal contracts. It has been reported to save the company over 360,000 hours yearly, which is a huge game changer for operational cost and legal accuracy. In the retail sector, we have Zara, the global fashion brand, which applies AI to track real-time trends and adjust inventory across stores. This helps them minimize waste and better meet customer demand. And lastly, we have the CVS Health. They leverage AI and telehealth platforms to help triage patients and manage prescriptions more efficiently. It's an example of how AI can improve access to care and reduce bottlenecks in the healthcare system. So how can businesses actually implement autonomous AI? It starts with identifying high-impact use cases, looking for tasks that are repetitive, time-consuming, or prone to human error. From there, many organizations begin with pilot or beta programs, which help test AI in controlled environments before they scale. It's also essential to prepare your workforce. Employees need training to shift from task execution to roles in oversight and system management. Another key is data governance. AI models are only as good as the data they're trained on, so clean, reliable data is a must. Finally, collaborating with a trustworthy AI vendor or a partner that helps ensure smooth deployment and long-term scalability. Of course, implementing autonomous AI is going to come with its share of challenges. Many companies struggle to integrate AI with older systems that weren't designed for this level of automation. There's also a huge human factor here. When change comes about, it can bring resistance, especially if employees worry about being replaced. That's why upskilling and communication are critical. The initial costs of deploying autonomous systems, including infrastructure, software, and training, can all be high, and the complexity of implementation often requires a lot of support. Legal and regulatory frameworks are still evolving, which means organizations need to proceed carefully to avoid missteps. And finally, concerns around bias, transparency, and accountability are all top of mind. These are not just technical issues, they're ethical ones that must be addressed up front.
Hello, my name is Madison Farrell, and I'm covering the ethical and legal ramifications of using autonomous AI in business. I'm going to cover how we can hopefully navigate innovation with integrity. During my presentation, I will cover three main points. The first being how bias and discrimination have played a part in autonomous AI in the workplace, how data surveillance and privacy breaches are a possibility, and how ultimately accountability and liability play a part in this misconduct. Although autonomous AI has so many benefits, we have to cover the ethical and legal risks that can be associated with such technology. The first being that it can perpetuate a societal and historical bias. So whether this prejudice is against a race or a gender, we have seen this in real life, and I will actually dive into a real life example in the next slide. Another risk is replacing human labor and conflicting with the corporate responsibility in growing the workforce. Helping unemployment rates and reskilling promoting employees is a corporate responsibility, and instead we cannot rely only on automated systems to do these mechanical jobs. Another risk is the economic divide and unemployment downturn. Through unemployment rates, we have already seen several jobs lose several functions and positions altogether through these highly functioning technologies with artificial intelligence. So we need to make sure that we don't create a ripple effect and actually take out a huge chunk of our economy with autonomous AI. And lastly, and probably one of the most important, is the welfare versus efficiency. We can't lose our well-being as human beings and our connection. We have to ask ourselves, where do we draw the line and keep our human integrity over technical innovation? A real-life example where autonomous AI failed was at Amazon in the years 2014 to 2018. During this time, Amazon launched and experimented with a system that was trained to collect resumes and data submitted to Amazon over a 10-year period. Most of the information that was collected reflected a male-dominated tech industry. Because of this, the system learned to favor only male candidates and passed over every female candidate. It even went as far as avoiding female-like verbiage in any of the applications. There was also no ethical oversight to this system or any auditing done, so ultimately in the years 2018, Amazon scrapped the whole entire system. For the next section, I will cover how data surveillance and privacy can be breached with autonomous AI. First, here are some examples of how these systems can actually track your behavior in the workplace. The first is the NLP, which is the natural language processing system. This includes reading emails, team chats, or even dissecting your phone calls. This includes pulling keywords to get to know you more and actually understand what you're talking about. There's also biometric data collection. This includes facial or voice scans and even fingerprints. Although this isn't as common, I'm sure in 50 to 100 years from now, most businesses will have this type of collection. There's also keystroke logging, what you type on your actual laptop, the words you're using, along with your webcam use and overall screen activity tracking. There's also facial recognition, which goes hand in hand with biometric. That is not as common, but in some companies they have adopted it for attendance records. And there's also a geolocation tracking method, and this can be for remote or field employees, those that use company cars or equipment. Although data surveillance and privacy is a critical component for a company, it's also equally important that this company establishes healthy boundaries around the ethical and legal ramifications. The risk that they run into is that these systems are collecting and analyzing mass amounts of customer data, and if they are not having proper oversight or consent with this data collection, then like we saw with Amazon, these systems can actually end up abusing it and having a completely different perspective than what us humans originally intended. Also, there is an issue with violating your general data protection laws and the California Consumer Privacy Act, along with internal data policies. And the impact of this is huge fines, long lawsuits, and a loss of company potentially and customer trust. In the last section, we will cover how accountability and liability overall play a role with ethical and legal code of conduct. Now, of course, depending on the nature of the system failure, applicable laws, and the roles of those involved, it's not guaranteed that one or multiple people will be found at fault for what happened. But it could be anyone from the business owner or employer, the autonomous AI vendors or developers, consultants or third-party system integrators, system operators or human supervisors, or an overall shared responsibility. There are a few key questions we can ask ourselves in order to figure out who could be liable for a certain scenario. First being, is the employer liable under vicarious liability? This is when an employer is held legally responsible for the actions or omissions of their employees performed within the scope of their employment, even if the employer was not directly at fault. You can also ask yourself, is the software vendor or developer liable under product liability? And product liability refers to the legal responsibility of manufacturers, designers, or sellers for harm caused by a defective or dangerous product. And thirdly, you can ask, does the AI operator assume any legal fault under negligence or duty of care? So once again, it's a broad scope. This is where it goes back to the lawsuits and fines, and every kind of scenario will have a different outcome. But it can be broken down into various liable parties and different types of liability found. There are a couple ways to reduce the risk of breaking any autonomous AI ethical or legal boundaries. The first is to ensure that your company complies with the security and privacy laws of today. You also want to implement consistent human oversight as well as communicate effectively to your whole staff the ethical standards of the company. You also want to conduct audits and these algorithmic impact assessments that can really show you if the system is functioning in the way you planned. You also need to carefully assess the contracts that you have with your AI developers and vendors. As for the regulatory response from our own government, there has been no comprehensive federal AI law put into place yet, although we do have boundaries around any unfair, deceptive, or discriminatory practices that are found. The Department of Labor also monitors and manages the use of these autonomous AI systems, and the Federal Trade Commission values truth and fairness above efficiency. I believe it's just a matter of time with how vast and wide these autonomous AI systems are becoming that our own government will have to implement a federal law for the boundaries of these systems.
Hello, my name is Maren, and I will be presenting on the future of autonomous AI in business. So far, my partners have covered crucial aspects of autonomous AI. First, autonomous AI is different from other forms of AI because it can perform its functions without human intervention. It can learn from and analyze data on its own. Next, we've learned and discussed about how this technology can be used in today's business world and the advantages it offers to different organizations. Lastly, we discussed some ethical and legal ramifications that go with the use of this AI, such as liability bias, discrimination, data surveillance, and collection. So, where do we go from here? On a regular basis, Gartner, for information technology executives, publishes a disruptive technology hype curve. On this graph, you will see many different kinds of technology, including different forms of AI. I have circled autonomous agents because that is the area that we are focusing on. As you can see, it is still climbing in the innovation trigger sector of the graph, which means it still has room for improvement. Gartner explains that AI's fast evolution is producing autonomous AI systems that can operate with minimal human oversight, improve themselves, and become effective at decision-making in complex environments. The Gartner hype curve demonstrated that autonomous AI is on the rise. So the question becomes, how does this technology continue to improve and help businesses grow? Autonomous AI is rapidly growing as more businesses are implementing it to transform their operations. AI is evolving from a reactive tool to a proactive tool. It is not just a shift, but a transformation for how organizations operate and compete with others. The topics that I will be covering in this presentation are autonomous AI's future in decision-making through presenting data and market tracking, through marketing and customer experience by personalization and feedback, and through research and development and product development through the use of simulations and behavioral insights. And I will also be discussing the competitive advantage that the use of this AI provides for businesses. Decision-making is a large and stressful part of any business. Imagine having the perfect employee that never sleeps, gets distracted, and continues to learn daily. That is what autonomous AI will add to organizations with continued development. Autonomous AI can gather data, analyze it, reach conclusions, and take actions without waiting for human approval. For example, it continues to improve the finance sector by tracking market movements, and based on those movements, it makes decisions. It can even adjust portfolios to minimize risk. It continues to evolve operational efficiency because it tracks workflows, scheduling, and logistics. This helps decision makers see areas they need to become more efficient in and what to change to get there. While the output of this AI is extremely relevant for businesses, the input is just as important. To get these desired results, this AI needs access to reliable and current data, and this can be obtained through data mining. Having reliable data will allow this AI tool to suggest the best course of action quickly for decision makers. With autonomous AI, the marketing and customer experience sector will continue to improve. First, autonomous AI will be able to collect data across multiple platforms quickly and analyze and compare the data of each source. This will help companies gain a greater perspective of customers' wants and needs. It will also be able to hyper-personalize content based on the user's behavior, preferences, and history. This area is often associated with crossing ethical boundaries of data collection. But with proper regulation, organizations can be held accountable for any unethical data collection. Autonomous AI will continue to evolve the marketing and customer experience sector with creative content generation, with tools like OpenAI's GPT models or image and video generators will autonomously create, test, and optimize marketing content across channels, then take feedback and know what to change to reach its target audience. It will have predictive capabilities to personalize customer relationships in real time with content, recommendations, fulfillment, and even purchase follow-ups that anticipate people's needs. This way, the consumer feels that they are being helped from the start to the end of their purchase. Along with decision-making and the customer experience, autonomous AI will improve research and development and product development. This AI will independently conduct hypothesis generation, run simulations, and design experiments. I have had some surface-level experience with artificial intelligence like this. I was working with an AI system to help it recognize the difference between cell and no cell. As I kept giving it examples, it learned and became more efficient when analyzing the data it was given. Generative design and simulation-based testing will allow AI to autonomously propose and refine product prototypes based on constraints like cost, function, and sustainability. Autonomous AI will use real-time market data, consumer behavior insights, and trend analysis to recommend new product directions or pivot strategies moving forward. As a result of the innovation of this technology, small businesses now have access to data they didn't before, and this allows them to compete with larger businesses. Autonomous AI can analyze data, detect patterns, and act in real time, outpacing human decision-making cycles. Autonomous AI can turn big, complex datasets into real-time actionable insights across finance, logistics, HR, marketing, and customer service. Organizations with the fastest available data will be able to make important decisions confidently, putting them ahead of their competitors. Regulation has already been discussed throughout this presentation, but I think that it is very important to note that as this technology continues to develop, regulation must develop with it. It will ensure the protection of privacy for users and consumers' data, and build functioning and trusting relationships between consumer and business. A line needs to be drawn on ethical collection and use of data, and when that is followed, it will bring peace of mind to the users of autonomous AI.